All right, you guys, we are going to read the book called Amazing Grace. This is by Mary Hoffman, illustrated by Caroline Binch. And I can tell this little girl on the cover is a lot like, sorry, just trying to move this a little bit so you can see the book better. Let's move it up here. She is a lot like you. You know how I can tell? She's missing her front two teeth, just like some of you are missing teeth. All right, let's go ahead and give it a read. Amazing Grace. Oh, and look at all of the things Grace is dressed up as. Grace was a girl who loved... There we go. Grace was a girl who loved stories. She didn't mind if they were read to her or told to her or made up in her own head. She didn't care if they were from books or movies or out of Nana's long memory. Grace just loved stories. What about you? Do you like stories better when people read them to you? Or do you just like people to tell you stories? I know when I was a kid, I used to like to just listen to my grandma tell me stories about when I was young, like when I was a baby. And after she heard them, and sometimes while they were still going on, Grace would act them out. She always gave herself the most exciting parts. When I read to you guys, I see some of you actually act out the parts. Like, for example, when I read Junie B. Jones and pretend Junie B. Jones makes some silly face or she sticks out her tongue, you know what? When I look up at the screen and I see all your faces on my screen, I can see some of you sticking out your tongue too, which tells me that you're acting out the parts of the book. Grace went into battle as Joan of Arc and wove a wicked web, as Anansi the spider. Anansi. She hid inside the wooden horse at the gates of Troy. She went exploring for lost kingdoms. She sailed the 7 seas with a peg leg and a parrot. Looks to me like Grace has a pretty good imagination. What do you think? Do you have a good imagination? She was Aladdin, rubbing his magic lamp to make the genie appear. And Mowgli in the backyard jungle. My daughter loves this movie. This is the Jungle Book movie. Have you seen that one? Most of all, Grace loved to act out adventure stories and fairy tales. When there was no one else around, Grace played all the parts herself. She set out to seek her fortune with no companion but her trusty cat, and found a city with streets paved in gold. Look at that cat chasing the string hanging from her. Sometimes she would get Ma and Nana to join in when they weren't too busy. Then she was Dr. Grace, and their lives were in her hands. Have you ever played doctor before? Maybe with your friends or your brothers and sisters. You try to make each other feel better. You're okay, buddy. One day, Grace's teacher said they would do the play Peter Pan. Grace knew who she wanted to be. When she raised her hand, Raj said, "You can't be Peter. That's a boy's name." But Grace kept her hand up. So the teacher is asking, who wants to be Peter from Peter Pan? But Raj says, "You can't be Peter. That's a boy's name." "You can't be Peter Pan," whispered Natalie. "He isn't black." But Grace kept her hand up. "All right," said the teacher. "Lots of you want to be Peter Pan. So we'll have auditions next week to choose parts. She gave them words to learn. So they're all going to try out or audition for the part of Peter Pan. And here's Grace and all the other kids raising their hands. When Grace got home, she seemed sad. "What's the matter?" asked Ma. "Raj said I couldn't be Peter Pan because I'm a girl." "That just shows what Raj knows," said Mom. "A girl can be Peter Pan if she wants to." Grace cheered up. Then later, she remembered something else. "Natalie says I can't be Peter Pan because I'm black," she said. Ma looked angry. But before she could speak, Nana said, "It seems Natalie is another one who doesn't know nothing. You can be anything you want, Grace, if you put your mind to it." What do you think? Do you think just because Natalie doesn't look like Peter Pan looks in the movie, that she can't pretend to be him? On Saturday, Nana told Grace they were going out. In the afternoon, they caught a bus and train into downtown. Nana took Grace to a grand theater. The sign outside read, "Rosalie Wilkins in Romeo and Juliet," in sparkling lights. So they're passing a theater here, and this is the play that's playing at the theater, Romeo and Juliet. "Are we going to the ballet, Nana?" asked Grace. "We are, honey. But first, I want you to look at this picture." Grace looked up and saw a beautiful young ballerina in a tutu. Above the dancer, it said, "Stunning new Juliet." Pause the video for a moment, especially if this is your first time listening to this story. Why did Grandma take Grace to look at this picture? What do you think? Good thought. Remember how Grace wanted to be Peter Pan? Well, what did everybody say about her being Peter Pan? Why couldn't she be Peter Pan? Because she was black and because she was a girl. But in the movie in the play Romeo and Juliet, you might not know that play, but Juliet is not black in that play. But look at this dancer. She's playing the spot of Juliet, and she's black. Do you think that's okay? I think so. I think anybody can play the part of Juliet as long as you know the lines, right? And you can dance if she needs to dance. That one is little Rosalie from back home in Trinidad, said Nana. Her granny told me we grew up together on the island. She's always asking me, do I want tickets to see her Rosalie dance? So this time, I said yes. After the ballet, Grace played the part of Juliet, dancing around the ballroom in her imaginary tutu. I can be anything I want, she thought. Pause the video and think about this question. Why, after seeing that play, does Grace now think that she can be anything she wants to be? On Monday, the class met for auditions to choose who was best for each part. When it was Grace's turn to be Peter, she knew exactly what to do and all the words to say. She had been Peter Pan all weekend. She took a deep breath and imagined herself flying. When it was time to vote, the class chose Raj to be Captain Hook and Natalie to be Wendy. There was no doubt who would be Peter Pan. Everyone voted for Grace. You were fantastic, whispered Natalie. The play was a big success, and Grace was an amazing Peter Pan. After it was all over, she said, "I feel as if I could fly all the way home." "You probably could," said Ma. "Yes," said Nana. "If Grace puts her mind to it, she can do anything she wants." And that's it. There she is, flying home. All right, I hope you enjoyed the story. I want you to go ahead and go live with me on my lesson. I'll see you in a minute. Bye.